Hi, so today I'm going to give you an overview of live casino game shows and entertainment games. I'm just going to explain to you the different types and how these games work, and give you some examples of games that have been produced since the very first one was produced in 2017, which was Dreamcatcher by Evolution. So let's start there with the story, and then I'll take you through the whole evolution of game shows in live dealer casinos. So Dreamcatcher was launched by Evolution in 2017. It's not a new concept, a big wheel game, a spinning big wheel, because these big wheels are often seen in land-based casinos near the cash desks quite honestly, and they were a way of catching people that had loose change and small amounts of money before they left the casino, and they would just sort of have a bet on which segment of the wheel would stop, and then they would win money from even money through up to about 10 to 1. Well, Evolution's taken that concept and brought it into the studio and created the first game called Dreamcatcher. And the difference with Dreamcatcher is that the wheel contains not only instant win prizes, and that by that I mean if you bet on a segment and the wheel lands on the segment, you get a payout. They have also included multipliers on the wheel. So this could be the first time that we see multipliers entering live dealer casino games, because in the following year, Evolution released Lightning Roulette, and that used the multiplier concept but sort of evolved from what it was on the Dreamcatcher wheel. So the Dreamcatcher wheel had a multiplier up to 7x on it, and if the wheel stopped on there, then all the prizes were multiplied by 7x, and then your next win was multiplied by 7 times the value of the bet that you'd placed. So it's a pretty good way of getting some nice little wins in quite a simple game. And the format was in its own designed studio with a presenter who would spin the wheel and provide commentary on the game. And shortly after Dreamcatcher was released, we saw Playtech release Spin and Win. They first tried to do it with an RNG game, so it was a physical wheel which they controlled by a computer, but they soon found out that 1, people wouldn't stomach that, and 2, it didn't work very well. So they replaced it with a truly live wheel, and that's where Spin and Win was born. The difference with Spin and Win and Dreamcatcher was that Spin and Win contained a couple of side bets which weren't available on Dreamcatcher. And then we had a year or so of games, these game shows, and then Evolution released something that which was quite groundbreaking. They took the wheel and then added external bonus rounds. So they added segments onto the wheel which then took you off into a bonus round, and this was a branded game with Hasbro, and they produced a Monopoly Dreamcatcher. So the bonus round was augmented reality RNG game, but basically of Mr. Monopoly marching around a Monopoly board, picking up multipliers as he went, and you got either 2 or 4 dice spins depending on where the game, where the wheel stopped. And that really was the true start of these game shows where you've got additional bonus rounds. So the game shows over a period of time have evolved from the basic wheel type, and that's still a fundamental game mechanic that is used, to other games that use dice as a games mechanic and bingo balls as a game mechanic, and then effectively the 3 types of game shows that we've got. And each one of those have a live portion, which is the main game mechanic. They all offer instant win prizes, but also the option to go into bonus rounds. And that's where the games become more detailed, and that's where the big multipliers, the big payouts occur. So you can place a small bet and actually get quite a big payout as a result of that small bet. Now, if we just take one step back, so we got Monopoly Dreamcatcher, then we got Crazy Time. Now, Crazy Time was the game-changing game, really. This was the game that, quite frankly, all live casino providers have been trying to match and produce something similar, and something that delivers the same sort of experience and emotions of a gambling game. And quite frankly, it's a genius game. It's my go-to game, Crazy Time, and although we've seen other suppliers try and create their own versions, they haven't quite hit the same sweet spot. So the latest one is Money Time by Pragmatic Play. So apart from the word money, you can see time is the same, and that's got 4 bonus rounds, and albeit the bonus rounds are slightly different, they all do exactly the same thing. They deliver multipliers. Some games have more player choice, i.e. you make a decision, than others, and others you just put your money on the table and then just watch the game play out. So as I said, the game mechanics are either a big wheel, dice, or bingo style balls, and then you've got your options of the type of game that you prefer to play. Now, each live casino provider has got their own range of game shows. Some are quite simple, and they use roulette to deliver a sort of gaming experience and give you access to bonus rounds through the result on roulette. And others still use the big wheel. And then you've got hybrid games that use an RNG slot, which you have to play to then get into a bonus round, which is a live bonus round. So I can think of a couple of games like Crazy Pachinko, Red Door Roulette. There's a few out there where you have to play a game to then get into a bonus round. Actually, Red Door Roulette isn't. That's real roulette, and that takes you into the Crazy Time bonus round. So forgive me for that. Every live casino provider has got their own games. Some are more basic than others. Some have failed and flopped fantastically. I'm not going to point those out because I think you already know which ones those are. And some I can't find anymore when I've gone through looking through all the various lobbies. So obviously those ones which weren't a particular success or didn't gel with players have actually been decommissioned. And in fact, Evolution has decommissioned a couple of games or recreated them because they didn't quite work the first time round. And I would argue that one of them that they've reworked still doesn't work. They ought to just put that to bed. But, hey, what do I know? I'm only a player. So these big wheel games all have an RTP in the range of 95 to 96 point something %. So they give a return very similar to a slot game. Some games are more volatile than the others. So I would say Crazy Time sort of sits quite high on the volatility list because you can get lots of very small wins or no wins at all. And what I mean by that is on the bonus rounds. And then you can get a massive payout. But the massive payouts only happen sort of once every 2, 3, 4 months. The payouts on certainly Crazy Time tend to range from about 10x through to 50, maybe if you're lucky 100x. But the main wheel and the instant win prizes are actually, when you look at all the stats and all that sort of thing, a better place to place your bets. And that's true of most of the entertainment games. But unfortunately, that's the boring bit, and it's not great to play those. You want to play these game shows because you want to get into the bonus rounds. Now, in terms of innovation, Evolution has really been pushing the curve on this, and they've done a few games on the theme. So they've obviously used Crazy Time, and they've rinsed and repeated that formula a number of times since the release of Crazy Time. And then you've got other games which are very heavily branded with external brands. So Playtech, for example, have got Adventures in Wonderland, which is a very popular game based on the Alice in Wonderland characters. Then you've got their tie-up with Family Feud. So we know that in the UK as Family Fortunes, but there is a game that's being streamed live from the Las Vegas Strip, and that's a game show. There's a studio in the MGM Grand Casino in Las Vegas, and that's where they stream that game from, plus a few other table games. And then you've got Pragmatic Play, who have got, again, Sweet Bonanza Candyland, very good game in my opinion, and they've got a load of other games where they've used dice and they've used other big wheels, like Snakes and Ladders, Treasure Island. They're all sort of themed games, but they all deliver a sort of similar playing experience. But the one thing you've got to look out for is the use of RNG in these games. So while the main game mechanic is live, a lot of the bonus rounds are heavily RNG. And that's primarily because it's easier for the live casino providers to create these. It's easier to license them, it's easier to test them, and it's obviously easier to maintain them. And while I personally don't like them, it doesn't stop you playing them, and it doesn't stop you getting the highs and lows of wins and a bit like a slot really. But you are playing against a computer, and if you like pure live as I do, then there is no one game show that is completely live other than the really early ones that don't have external bonus rounds. Okay, so that is live entertainment games or game shows. The genre has become a niche in its own right in live casino, and there are a lot more entertainment game shows that I've mentioned here because all the suppliers have got them, and some suppliers that I haven't even reviewed that I know are around, I've seen their games. So for example, Winfinity has Agent Spinity, and again that's just like a Dreamcatcher wheel, and that's their first foray into these entertainment games. I'm sure they're going to produce more. Bonanza Entertainment have produced a couple. One was not very good. Izugi, they haven't produced. They have multiplayer games, but they haven't gone down the game show route, and they don't need to because their parent Evolution does all of that. Obviously, Playtech have, and then you've got other suppliers that are dabbling on the edge. So I would say that some have produced some game shows, but they're not necessarily available to players in the UK, so that they don't get a great deal of visibility, certainly to me, so I can't really talk about them. One supplier that has got a couple of game shows, which I'm really struggling to play, is Imagine Live. And whilst I had a UK license, I've not been able to find any UK casinos that have got them. But they've got some game shows. And again, I think some are better than others. But until I can get to grips with playing them and doing a review, I'm not really in a position to comment in any detail. Okay, so where can you play these live entertainment game shows? Well, they're available at all online casinos. Just go to the live lobbies and then you'll find them in there, either listed in a particular section, live casino game shows or entertainment shows, or if you go into Evolution's lobby, you'll find them under game shows. The same with Pragmatic and Playtech. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that whistle-stop tour around game shows, the different types there are. I didn't really spend too much time talking about the bingo mechanics, but again, there are games there that play like bingo, and then you get to go into bonus rounds, and there are games where they just use the balls to generate the results, so you can then get into additional bonus rounds. So if you like bingo, there's a bit of a crossover there, so you can play a sort of bingo style game but also get into bonus rounds. So that's quite nice for people that are familiar with bingo and like that sort of game mechanic. Again, dice is used primarily by Pragmatic Play. They've taken on that game mechanic, although Evolution have got a couple of multiplier games which are dice games. So Lightning Dice, for instance, is one, but it's not what I would categorize as a game show. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that quick rundown on live casino game shows. Go off and play them, and leave me comments in the video. Let me know the ones that you like to play, and if I've missed any, or there's ones that you think I really ought to pay attention to, then please drop that in the comments. So until the next video, I hope you remain lucky, bet within your means, and I shall see you then. Cheers. Bye.